Shamps and giggles, history, news, views, and reviews from a black perspective.
Yeah, we're talking pool parties. It is summer. If you've got the hot tub, get the thing out. If you've got the water pistols, you know what? When we were kids, a little bit of sunshine, we was out there. The water pistols, the water bottles, the balloons, you fill the water in. You didn't even have to have a balloon. One man, he showed us how to do it with paper, and you fold it into a box, and then you pour the water in the little hole. And there's your water bomb. I mean, come on now, walk around the street here. You don't see no picnic about. What time? By the way, Shamps and Giggles is the website, is .co.uk, shamsandgiggles.co.uk. You can find us on, of course, YouTube. Some of the images that we are talking about on the show, if you care to have a look on the old YouTube, you will see them images displayed there, and you can follow the conversation just whilst you're about the house doing your cooking and so on and so forth. TikTok, Instagram, with Facebook, we're there also. So if you want, to see that side of the show, absolutely feel free. You're more than welcome. And of course, multiple radio stations. Keith, where are we reaching on that?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're on multiple radio stations throughout the week. On a Monday, for instance, 6 till 8, you can catch us on blackculturalradio.com. On a Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock till 10, rhythmconnectionradio.com. Wednesday, 6 till 8, we're on rocksolidfm.co.uk. Thursday, 6 till 8, blackcultureradio.com. Saturday, 10 a.m. this time until 12, Slam Radio, and also Mood Radio as well. And on a Saturday evening, Rock Solid FM, and Sunday, rhythmconnectionradio.com. So literally every day there's a radio station that is airing our Talk the Things.
Yeah. And that's what we do. We talk the things, put the world to right. It's history, news, views, and reviews.
That's right. And it's free. And it's free to join us. It's free to follow us as well. So please do. Free.
Check it out, by the way. July, Alicia's doing something on July 19th. I don't know if she was going to say save the date. I don't know how far she got with that. But I do believe it's Saturday. Yes. Or is it a Sunday? It's a Saturday.
Saturday, yes.
It's July 19th. It's the Governors Saturday. We come together. We bring out with food them for the people them that can cook like me. We bring out the food them. We put it on the table. We bring out the chairs then. We bring out the music.
A few drinks.
We bring out the drinks then.
Yes.
And we're down at the park and we got party. Oh, Alicia's got a hand up, like the things. Lord have mercy.
Joseph, were you banned from cooking? I'm sure you were being banned from cooking.
Me banned from cooking?
Yeah. Members have banned you from cooking for the
cookout. All the time.
He's gonna cook potato salad.
A who salad? No, come on, Jeremy, don't lie. You burned the salad, remember? You burned the salad. See, him just have to laugh.
Gone quiet.
Yeah, see that?
I know when I made my chicken, I only got one piece and I made 55 pieces. Talk to me now.
Lord have mercy. All right, we're talking about food the other day. Anyway, I'm not even going to talk about it, but apparently she had this up.
No, that's all, thank you.
So, July 19th, going to be a fabulous day. The weather's going to be as beautiful as this, if not better. And also, June, July, the clocks are at peak around that time. Isn't it that time of the year when it's the longest day? Or am I mistaken? It's June. Anyway, it's the longest day. It won't get dark till about 9, 10 o'clock. So we got good time in the park. Of course, it starts from early, 1 till late. It's just going to be a day of niceness. The true, because obviously, man, them give bit labba on the radio, as you hear. But the true Ludo champion, Mecca, I tell you, will be revealed. No more ding, 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 ding. The boards will be out, okay? Just saying. And then we will see if who are talk and who are okay, say no more. By the way, let's not digress too far. We still have more to talk about on the show. There was this documentary. It takes us back to the 1960s on Marshall Street. By the way, Marshall Street is in Birmingham. It's in Birmingham, just up the road there, isn't it? Oh, look at it. Smith. How do you pronounce that word? Smith. Smethic. Smethic. I don't know. Anyway, it's in Birmingham. Tension was so bad from America. Malcolm X himself, would you believe it, literally shows up at this here road, and you know, his presence obviously means a lot. Let's have a looky here. We're gonna have a dive back in history, just for a brief moment here on Shamps and Giggles. These kind of footage the BBC has already eliminated, haven't they? But we're gonna have a dive back into history. What we're gonna do is play the documentary, and then you know what? We'll see what you guys have to say about it. Maybe you saw a vehicle in the background that you forgot about. The old, I don't know, Morris. What was it, Morris Minor back then? You know, 1960s. I'm in a barn yet, you know. So whoever knew about whatever kind of vehicles was back then, do tell. But let's just have a look as we listen in to this historic. It's historic Odyssey on Shamps and Giggles.
They don't talk to us, and I don't talk to them. But that white lady next door, well, she's quite all right, and she talk all the time. And our children come over my home, and her children come at my home as well.
Do you think there should be a limit?
No, for resolve one. You don't need they don't need to have no limit. For resolve one nation.
Do you think there should be more coloured people coming to Marshall Street?
Well, you see why they come in this true, they want a home to live. So they come, and if this house put up for sale, and who have the money can buy it, buy it.
The Sikh owner of the biggest house in the street, Yalman Singh, says he's never invited white neighbours into his house. They never invited him. Whites don't mix with coloureds. Sikhs don't mix with Jamaicans. The whites say they want to keep the proportion of coloureds within bounds so they can help raise their standards and ways of living to the British level. But so far, with 6 years of coloured neighbours, nothing has been done. The man of the house, a Jamaican, is in prison now serving 12 months for indecent assault on a 14-year-old girl. Marshall Street remembers this. Number 7 has just been sold to a coloured family, price said to be £950. Bigger houses further along fetch up to £3,000. It's 3.5 years since a white family moved in. One man has seen the street's whole history. He was born behind the bedroom window on the right, the year the street began. Now, 78 years later, Mr. Barnett lives just 2 doors away and speaks about his new neighbours.
Their way of living is not like the white people, see? Because what they cook, there's always fumes of fire coming from it, and that's what they don't like. Well, I don't suppose any white people would like.
West Indians are Marshall Street's minority group. Most of the coloureds here are Sikhs. The fathers are making good money in steel and car factories. The families often speak little English, the wives least of all. They're suspicious and camera shy.
Where do you intend to put the coloured people who can't get houses in Marshall Street?
Well, that isn't our problem. That is the problem of the immigrant himself.
But aren't you removing a free market? Surely you've got then to provide an alternative.
No, not exactly. What we do think that this road must not be completely taken over by immigrants. We think this would be segregation. And that is the last thing we want if we want the coloured people to settle down amongst the white residents of this.
The 100 houses in the street look shabby and uncared for. 26 of these houses are occupied by coloured families. About 100 of the street's 350 inhabitants are coloured men, women and children. Many streets in Smethwick have far bigger proportions of coloured people. So what's made Marshall Street famous, and for many infamous? It's here that the whites have banded together and look as though they'll persuade the conservative-controlled council to halt the colored invasion, to save Marshall Street, they say, from becoming a black ghetto.
Just that we feel we're being outnumbered, and the policy of this country now is to integrate. Well, if the coloured people are going to be allowed to form communities, how can integration take place?
The standard of living is very, very low amongst the coloured people. If there were less of them, perhaps, and more of us, then they would learn to live as we do. But as it is, they're just living in their own little communities and living how they lived, probably in India or wherever it was they came from. And the standard of living is very low.
The white people in this street say that the West Indians are unsanitary in their habits. True?
That's a lie. If you get to the full understanding of the matter, the white people are more sanitary more than the colored people. If you don't mind, I say so. For one reason, the colored people, they won't buy a house without it has a bath. There's thousands of these white people who live in a house without having bath.
There he is, Malcolm X, right by Marshall Street. And there's a house for sale. Yeah. Bear in mind the price of a house there was fetching what they say 950 £950, whereas in nearby neighborhoods the same house they were or similar house were selling for 3,000. So it depended, but I mean nonetheless, right? £950 for a house. Good money. Good money that was. That was good money. Leisha, your hands up, start the thing.
Do you know how much houses in Smethwick are going for now?
That's what. £950. Good money.
Imagine if you bought a house for 950 quid back in the day, even 3 grand back in the day.
Yeah.
And you kept hold of that house and you updated it. What have you?
It's the kids, isn't it? It'll be the kids now. 60 years old.
You'll be sitting on a house worth anything between 500 grand up to $1 million.
There you go. There you go. So all I can say, buy a house now, and in 50 years, the million or the 500,000 you spend will be like 10 million, 15 million, because everyone's going to have money. See, the money's not scarce, you know. Everybody has it. Everybody has it. Same way that 950 is worth how much now? People still live in house, isn't it? So if you buy one now, right? If only everybody say, if only life was that simple. And you know, they said the same thing back in the day. What interested me about the short documentary there was several things, right? But notice how, first of all, that the house price was one, yeah. The guy he spoke of the street, the houses are shabby. His words, not mine. But it was a majority white street. Did you notice that? He said there's 26 of the 300 or something like that are colored. So the majority was white. And he's just, you know, when you look at these and the narratives they put out there, like he mentioned the colored invasion, they put the ideas in people's head, you know. The black ghetto, they put the ideas in people's head. Go on, before I go to the last one, go on, Leisha, your hands up.
Yeah, well, it was a majority of white people living in those areas. It was just simply that. The thing is that with immigration, people moving around the globe and what have you, for better lives and for whatever reason it might have been, they just settled in. People generally settle in areas where they feel there's cultural allegiance that they have. So yeah, they do, yeah, because you're going to get, for example, you know, Caribbean people came over and they settled in particular areas of the UK. Let's take Ladbroke Grove, for example. And when your family came over from the Caribbean, they go to Ladbroke Grove because they had family in Ladbroke Grove. So, you know, and a bit like in Birmingham, they go to Birmingham, Liverpool, Sheffield areas. Those are the areas that Caribbean us Caribbeans went to. So
No.
yeah, it's just that, you know, the Asians went and they brought their families and more families and kids and what have you, and they bought the houses, and hence the reason why it's become a large majority actually in Smethwick. It's Asian.
Yeah. The kids have bought houses because
The parents
generations
and the
have gone on.
children. The parents and the children bought houses. Yeah.
Yes, and it's gone on and on, grown and grown. But what you just said, doesn't it make perfect sense? You come to the country, there's black people in Ladbroke Grove. You're not going to go and live in Hayes. Why would you do that? You'd go and live where your people's them is. And you know, when you look at what white people say, or the media, which is white owned predominantly, in South Africa, white people, they're all in pretty much the same area. What do they call them again? Afrikaans. They're all in pretty much the same. So they've done the same thing, yet they criticize black people for what black people and how black people grew in this country. Mate, the stuff makes sense. Spin Doctor, your hand is up. Start the things.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that we really have to look and salute these elders that came here and bought these properties, with the climate they're coming in. You know, and I look at the entrepreneurial spirit that they had, that for someone to come and buy one house, he probably would say, right, I'm going to get this house, rent the rooms, do a partner, maybe even run a church in that house.
Yeah.
So it was probably showing the entrepreneurial side, which was forced on them, because when they're walking in and saying, no blacks here, no this. So you start to think, well, you know what? Why don't we buy and do rent to ourselves? So basically, people coming from the Caribbean would have had a one stop to say, yeah, go to Joel's house. He will give you a room for the night, or blah. You understand? And that particular person, when we really look at it, they may even sort out work for them and say, oh, they're looking for someone to work in the factory down, blah, blah. You can do that job until you understand. So we have to look
how
at
it happened.
as much these people are putting out this narrative of, hygiene, the blacks, this, that. But I like what Mr. Singh said. He ain't letting them in his house. He'll let them in the shop, but he ain't letting them in the house. He's right. What, Mr. Singh?
I saw you put that in the comment.
Yeah, they always just say, yeah, blues dancers, but you always I forgot because I lost.
No, but yeah, they put a false narrative out. It's a false narrative.
Yeah.
And not only Mr. Singh, the young chap at the end, he very eloquently put it. And you know what?
About the bath, yeah.
That was a statement of fact. Black people, when they come in the area, they're not going to buy a house unless it have a bath, which means that them can clean. White people are living in houses, or the people of the time, I don't want to put black and white line, but here's the white people, they're living in houses but don't have a bath. So who's the unsanitary one? And so my man present that with fact. He was making up, makes absolute sense for what he says. The other thing is, by the way, notice again that immigration was an issue back then that they were raising in politics and so on and so on. So they're still talking about it now. So nothing hasn't changed. That's just the playbook of what shall we complain about today? Oh, I know, let's complain about people of other races, predominantly the colors. And that's what they're calling us back then. Because I didn't see them, nobody's complaining about Ukraine and how many of them come in. They're not even keeping count. Leisha, your hands up. Start the thing.
Yeah, it is drumming up racism for them, even back then, because, you know, British people could go over to places like Spain and all the other countries in the world, and if they call it, what do they call them? They call it expats. Anybody that comes to the UK that are of a different hue, they're immigrants, and they're taking our land and are taking our public funds and all that stuff, all the negativity. But it's been going on for years, and you know, I suppose with the people at the time, white people at the time in that area, Birmingham was saying, they're probably really concerned because it's where they always feel that they have a right to it because our father fought for it, fought in the war, and it's our right to have this land. It's our land. That's what they're taught. So when somebody comes over and buys a house, it almost feels like they're being stripped of their land and their preciousness.
But the house is for sale. The house is for sale. It's not making it up. Somebody has come and bought a house that is for sale. So you've put part of your land, if that's their narrative, they put part of their land up for sale. And one of the guys in the documentary said it. If the house is for sale and somebody can afford and buy, well, let him buy it. I mean, when you watch these old school documentaries, that was only a very, very short one, by the way. When you watch them, though, it does make you laugh to think, this is how they take something that where there's not a problem and they just make it into a problem. They just make it into a problem to suit their narrative. Just absolutely crazy. Guys, let's talk about this. Sorry?
It's very interesting, right? And I just want to mention this, especially with fashion. Black people. My dad was a carpenter. He used to wear a suit and tie to work on a building site. And most of the black men used to have a hat, suit and tie, doing carpentry. And I was like, even now I'm thinking, when you look at it, they dressed up for occasions, even just going to work. So I just mention that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because if you look at the whole era back then, people used to have their hat on, they'd have a jacket, tie. Yeah, and it didn't matter the profession. And obviously with time, that has definitely changed. Suits are different though. I mean, obviously I have a suit going to work. It's my work suit, isn't it? It's but it's designed for the job I do.
What, with a tie?
No, well, I could, to be fair, honestly, I could wear it because I wear a shirt sometimes. I could wear a tie, but nobody would expect that. But I could wear a shirt.
If you do an office job, yeah.
Well, it's not practical going on the building site with a suit and tie, is it really?
No, but they used to wear a jacket. And remember, the jacket was the material was nice, thick, strong, hefty material. Yeah. And then under the tie, they'd have a jumper on. The man them used to dress back in the day. They'd have a jumper on, they'd have a shirt, they'd have their vest. So they're all layered up. And if everybody's dressed the same, guess what? You don't stand out. So, yeah, but people are wearing suits now. The painter, you'll often see, if you go and see, you'll see the painter, he's dressed in a white overall. Yeah, the electrician is typically got a work suit on.
Yeah,
with
but that's an
out.
overall, isn't it? It's not a suit. It's an overall, a protective PPE and all that stuff on site now.
That's the
I mean,
suit.
Back in the day, that's what I'm saying.
It was I know, but now that's the suit.
Do you know the story about why the carnival was formed?
Yeah, we talked about carnival, but we don't want to digress. We don't want to digress too far. We have to talk about this idiot. Sorry, Paul Doyle. So as we look at the video here, it's so can you believe this is the
Can you remind people who Mr. Doyle is, just quickly, just remind the listeners?
I haven't told them yet. They've been in suspense from the beginning of the shows to find out who this Paul Doyle is. As of this moment in time, he's just an idiot. But here it is, look.
Oh, it's a bit bonuses.
My lord.
Holy shit. Oh
Somebody's filming this from their apartment by the looks of things, and they're mortified. Let's just mute that because we don't know what other language may come out. But I mean, what in the world? Right? He's come to a stop there. Now, if only I could zoom in, which I can't. I mean, people must be battering the guy. I mean, but the police would be protected. To be fair, in all this, mate, the police would be protecting him. They wouldn't let the crowd just batter him because obviously you've got to allow for due course. Yeah. So this Paul Doyle, at that moment in time, the crowd would have been looking for revenge, and the police, their role with that would have changed to one of protection. Alicia, your hands up, top things.
There's a lot of videos circulating about what's happened here. And one of the videos that I saw was he was going through the crowd slowly.
Yeah.
Somebody came out the back door. So obviously he's there with somebody else. Somebody came at the back of his car door. But he was going forward, trying to get through. And some of the revelers were hitting his door, like, you know, why are you on the windows? And why are you going through the crowd? Anyway, I backed up on one of them, and then immediately zoomed forward, and that's when that all happened. When he mowed down all those people in front of him. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
So was he doing that to get away from the person he backed up on? Or
look, do you know what? What can people do to you if you're in a car?
they can't look. Or someone pulled the door open.
Look at that. Look.
Yeah.
I see him driving straight in. Look, check it out.
There it goes.
You see people flying in the air.
Well, I didn't see that. But there, oh, look at that. People are just mowed down there. Well, and they've covered it, obviously, because they don't want more people mowed down. He's deliberately driving into people, though.
Absolutely.
In innocent people, just out having a time of, right? I mean, and so there again, look. So I look at this point, the police are obviously trying to stop the crowd, and they're protecting the driver, Mr. Doyle, because at this time he's just going to get battered, because obviously he has caused grievous bodily harm. By the way, did anybody die?
No, but it's seriously, a lot of them are seriously injured. People's bodies flying in the air, didn't you? So,
right,
you know, you're gonna be badly affected. It's traumatic going through that.
Yeah.
Imagine you. Remember Liverpool, they won the league or what have you. They're celebrating, doing their walk through Liverpool. Liverpudlians, they're very proud of being their Liverpool football club. Very proud of people. Went there. And this guy decides that he's going to mow people down. If there had been anybody else, it would have been an absolute ruckus in the media right now about what's happened. And, I think that's one of the reasons why it's actually quite a hot topic on social media about, you know, if, you know, whether or not this is it should be called a terrorist. If he should be called a terrorist.
Completely unacceptable. Do you feel enough has been said to really demonstrate how unacceptable this situation was?
Well, let's see what DJ Smiley says about that.
Come in, Smiley.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is enough being said about it, and it's probably because they don't want too much, because they're saying that they're frightened. Well, they're saying for people to stop putting things out in the media, which is hearsay and not true.
Well, hold on, wait. If video's not hearsay, right? We can all see it.
Yes, but people are adding some other bits to it about the certain person, I think. And what they're saying is that please don't add more fuel to the fire. But for him, that gentleman, for me personally, he must have had intentions already to do something, because what they're saying is that he got in that crowd with his vehicle by tailgating an ambulance.
Right.
He tailgated an ambulance to get through the cordon. However, that to me doesn't sound right anyway, because if there is a cordon, the cordon is either by the police officers or police or private security that the council and the local authority and the football club would have hired, because the football club, Liverpool Football Club, would have had to have paid for some of those security road closures, they call them.
Yes.
Yeah. So and they would have had people at certain points to stop vehicles coming in, only pedestrians. So for him to get through there, that's an issue in itself.
But Keith, how that may have happened is that, You know, when the ambulance going through, if you're right behind the ambulance, you could be a family member or something.
Yes, and
So
that's very true.
oftentimes, because they see just the two vehicles, the ambulance and one other car, they assume
yeah,
you're together.
Yeah, very true. Very, very
So,
true.
and it could be that Doyle here was aware of
Did
that and used that to his advantage.
Yeah. But for him, yeah, two things that you mentioned and Miss Lee mentioned as well. He should have been classed as a terrorist, but they won't class it as a terrorist. They're just saying it's a grievous bodily harm, ABH, GBH, something with a vehicle. It's there's
a weapon.
There's a weapon. Yeah, there's a
car as a
term that they
weapon.
use. Yeah, as a lethal weapon or dangerous
Yeah.
vehicle use or something like that. So, but they will be. He is going to court. They will take him to court, and I think he'll do a severe time. For me personally, I think, as most people seem to go down this realm of mental illness, something happened. Had a health issue, his foot hit the gas. He didn't mean to.
No. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. If they tried to come out with that, I wouldn't be buying it at all. Not at all. Color Queen, she reads there. This is very sad. She has a tear in her eye. Leisha, your hand is up, and then fast food. Go on, Leisha.
Yeah. Smiley, we've got to stop calling people gentlemen when they're not gentlemen. Please. He is no way a gentleman. That picture image you've got on him from Mail Online, Joseph, we've got to stop using that newspaper. Like, get rid of it. It's just not appropriate for us to be using it. They're very negative paper, and racist as well. And that picture doesn't even look like this man either. And you notice that they haven't even put his name on there. Like, you got to really read through to get the name of this.
He's a Royal Marine. He's a Royal Marine.
He's a former Royal Marine.
He's an ex-Royal Marine.
Keith, that's your mental health they're going to come up with.
Yes.
You know, the thing about it is that
correct.
You've got to remember there was the Hillsborough disaster. The Hillsborough disaster, they called it, back in the day when they had a crowd that went on uncontrollable. See, that's what he looks like, Paul Doyle. Now, that's him. He don't look like, I don't know what's going on. Look at that.
Well, hold on a minute. This might be a picture of him in glory days of the past.
Yeah, but where did he grow the hair from?
Here you are. I'm not sure if this is a picture of him now. Still, you're right. It doesn't look like him. The hairstyle is,
Anyway, he to me, I think that there isn't. I mean, it had to come out about his ethnicity, his race, because I don't think they had to tell everybody who it was.
What's his ethnicity?
Well, he's a white man, isn't he?
The thing about it is, as soon as it's a black person, there is no doubt that a blind man will know he's black. And you could be blind, you're going to know he's black.
No, I think that, you know what it is? I think people probably thought that he might be somebody who was either of an Arab or Muslim.
No, I don't excuse him at all.
Also,
a black man do it. He could be Somalian, he could be whatever. If he's got color in his skin, you're not saying black. You could be blind. When a white man do a crime, if you're blind, all you're hearing is, it was a man. That's all you're hearing.
Or
in, a white man, all you're hearing is a man.
In Smiley's case, it was a gentleman.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading through, you're quite right when you're saying this paper must be. Well, as I'm reading through here, you read through the first few sentences, they mentioned they never at any point in these paragraphs here mention his color.
No, but they've actually read, if you read it, Paul Doyle, 53, appeared before Liverpool magistrates, blah, blah. He appeared tired and close to tears as he was brought into a glass panel dock for hearing. They're trying to bring on make us feel emotional towards him, feel sorry for him.
There you go. Your head spot on. Spot on. From even here, emotional ex-Royal Marine. Also, the pictures of him looking sad and look, forlorn. He was very emotional as he paid in dollars, as if he's got his repentance. You know what I mean? He's very sad. This guy's not sad for what he did. You don't drive a car into people like that and be sorry. That is a deliberate act. Fast food, where you there? That's too deliberate. In fact, you know, they should just whip him. They should get that whip. You remember the one that they beat Jesus with? The one they beat Jesus with, if people didn't know, it had bones in the laces of it. So when that whip lashed you on the back, it literally tear off your skin. That's what they should do to this man. They should whoop him in that same street with all that crowd. They should bring that back and whoop him, put him on top of that vehicle and whoop him like they whooped Jesus. Go on fast forward, start the things. I wonder what they'll do in Dubai.
Joseph,
Yeah.
you do like to give people a good beating, don't you?
Well, sometimes people need a man like that need a whooping. Tell me I'm lying, please. Somebody tell me. Radio listeners, if you think I'm lying, come on, send us an email, shamsandgiggles@gmail.com. If you think I'm talking nonsense, the man need a whooping.
Joseph, you always bring out the belt when we have conversations like this.
That's what's lacking in this world. Yeah, of course. That's what's lacking. If more people get a little whooping, this one needs a big whooping. If more people get a little whooping, then half of the foolishness we see happening, guess what? Wouldn't be happening. Just a little whooping. Just a little whooping. I mean, no discipline out there. No discipline. Fast food, what are you telling me now? Your hand is up. Your thing. I mean, that man needs a whooping. Like they beat Jesus, beat him. Jesus did no crime. Come on now.
Geez. So, one of the reasons why they're not calling it terrorism.
No.
Why they're not calling it terrorism? Because he hasn't done specific things, i.e., he hasn't aligned himself with a political party. He hasn't aligned himself.
Know of. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That we know of. He hasn't aligned himself with a religion that we know of.
Right. Yeah.
Which he hasn't aligned himself with a country that is on the so-called, and I say that in inverted commas, the banned list. Yeah. And this is coming from the Terrorism Act 2000. It says,
hold on, Jenny. What about homegrown terrorists?
Well, I haven't got there yet. I'm snaking my way around there. So before the year 2000, I can't be specific what it was, but the definition of terror is the use or threat of violence, serious damage to property, endangering a person's life, or creating a serious risk to public health or safety, designed to influence the government or intimidate the public for a political, religious, or ideological cause. So that's why I said the three things that I said. He hasn't aligned himself with a country, a religion, a political party, or an ideology, or ideology. If I can get the word out right now. Shut up, Dion. Ideological cause. Excuse me.
Do you know, I think that's nonsense. Let me explain to you the reason why, right?
Oh, here we go.
If we walk into his house, all right, he's nice. He's probably got the. I'm exaggerating here, by the way, guys. I don't know him. He might have, for example, the Queen, sitting on top of a picture of the Queen, probably. He might have the British flag on there as well.
He would have. Come on,
and he might be a regular supporter of the I don't know,
local team,
Farage's party, and he might have a little membership with them that he donates towards. We might know. He might do that.
Did they raid his house?
I'm not saying that. I'm being facetious.
No, but it's true. That normally they'll raid your house.
We don't know.
And the stuff that's in your house, they will then say he did this. They'll get your computer, get your phone, and then they'll say he looked online for this, that, and the third. Right?
Yeah.
Notice in this situation we haven't had none of that. So maybe they haven't had the time to, because it's very recent. They haven't had the time to do their research. So we're gonna have to juke a pin on this one to see how they sort of unravel and peel back the skins of this onion. See what information they do put in, because I know for a fact, one of the things they take from you is your phone immediately, and they'll strip your phone to see what you've been looking at. And that's their insight into your mind. And we're not seeing none of this. All we're hearing here, the charges, that's it. It's just the charges. He drove into people. They've charged him. He won't be coming out anytime soon. And it must be going on to a bigger court case where all the evidence is going to be put forward, what the injuries are, and so on and so forth. If someone ends up dying, I mean, somebody might be, in critical condition. And then due course will prevail, and he'll be charged as he's not going to be charged as
But
a
he
black
must
man.
get charged. It's not even about due cause because we've all seen it was him. There's no if, but maybe if it was him, it was him. Yeah, who ran over those people. It should be an open and shut case, really.
No, he's charged with 7 offences, but obviously the offence, because of there's injury, in 3 months, those injuries could become this, that, or the third. So that's going to affect what, and obviously there may be more, because here is saying 7 offences, but now earlier on, you lot were saying that there was many more people than initially.
77 people initially hurt.
Yeah, so it's not saying that. The court heard charges related to 6 alleged victims, including 4 adults, 2 men, 2 women, and 2 children, aged 17 to 11. The maximum sentence he could face is life imprisonment. He did not indicate a plea. So that's how many people? That's only a handful compared to 77. So there's that. This list of charges is obviously going to stack up. Let's see if he could get life. Let's see what his arguments are. Somebody will have to follow this case so that we can find out where it goes and how far. But I mean, the man's mad, and the thing that is terror. There's no 2 ways about it. Because if you're at an event now, how do you feel when a car's coming through? Right.
Well, for me, that's the definition of terrorism right there.
Yeah.
But you can have homegrown terrorism or international terrorism.
Yeah.
And we spoke about in the banter, Jerry Adams. Who now has a seat at the big table in the government of Ireland. But if you go back 30 years, he was a terrorist.
He was a terrorist. Yeah, that was a negotiation with Blair and all the rest why he got that where he got his mansion. I did. But yeah, same thing here. So this guy has terrorized a crowd. You will not be in a crowd. And none of those people that was in that crowd will ever be in a crowd again and feel safe if they see a car. Much as Carnival, where you got lorries driving down the road. Imagine that. Huh? Come on, man. This is just ridiculous. And you know what the sad thing about it is? This only just the other day happened in Canada with was it the Filipinos? They were having their parade and some.
Yeah, because these things are called soft targets. Yeah, and if
it's innocent people though. You can't. I can't excuse it in any way.
A man who wants to hit people, I'm not endorsing or saying that it's good, but I'm saying for those kind of people who are that way inclined and they want to make a non-political or a political statement by hurting innocent people. Every year in every country there are a number of soft targets. Yeah, they could have did that at Chelsea's football ground. Chelsea won a trophy.
Anyway, Jeremy.
They could have done it at that other team.
Hold on, wait. Didn't it happen a few years ago near Big Ben when the guy drove up on the? Because now when you go by Westminster, they've got bollards all the way along. I'm sure there was a man who drove up his car and did the same thing.
Yes, he did.
Come on now.
I think it's Westminster Bridge.
Westminster, there you are. Westminster, that's the very one. Because now there's all bollards along and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, madness. What's possessing these people? What are they eating? What's in their chickens?
Well, there are some schools that or some literature that I've read that said that he said himself that he had 20 lines of cocaine.
Oh, oh my Lord, he's on crackhead. Oh my Lord. Sorry. I mean, he's a drug user. All right, we're going to leave this one alone because now my brain's gone X, Y, and Z. By the way, Donald Trump, he loves to call people names. He called that woman, a fat slob or something. He seemed to have a name. He had a name for Biden. He had a name for the other. He had a name for Obama. He got a name for every. Anyway, apparently the Wall Street traders have given him a name. They've called him a taco. Do you know what a taco is? You know what a taco is, isn't it? You know, Taco Bell. A taco. They've called him a taco, as in Taco Bell. What's that Spanish food, isn't it? A taco.
No, it's Mexican.
It's Mexican, not to call it Spanish. It's Mexican. You put the meat in the taco, and you put the salad on top, and it's all very good. We're coming here to the end of the show. We're going to squeeze this one in nonetheless. And anyway, he's called them. He himself is being called a taco. Okay, the man who loves dishing out names, etc., 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 has now been named. Let's see. It's quite hilarious. Let's see how he responds. By the way, Donald Trump's body language is so hilarious. Look at his face. It's just hilarious. By the way, radio listeners, you'll have to jump on the old YouTube to see this one. But Donald Trump is being called a taco. Let's have a look.
Hello, everybody. How are you? You all ready? Happy about that situation. I think we're...
Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country, and because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. And in many ways, I think we really helped China tremendously because, you know, they were having great difficulty because we were basically going cold turkey with China. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high. But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question.
What do you make of that? Donald Trump is being called a taco. Trump. Oh my Lord, man's vexed, you know. You saw that, right? Lisa, your hand is up to other things. We only got a couple minutes.
It was getting angrier and angrier and oranger and oranger.
Hence why he said it's a nasty question. Don't ever say that to me again. It's a nasty question.
So basically you're saying that he's a chicken taco then?
Yeah, taco.
Chicken taco.
Taco. Trump
Yeah.
Always chickens out.
Yeah.
So taco. Yeah, when he says whatever he says, well, you call it a chicken, I call it a TT, innit? A Trump taco. He's a chicken. He didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. But isn't that the thing? When you do not like a nickname, isn't it that then that's the name that sticks? If someone calls you something and you just say, you laugh it off with them, right, it goes away, innit? But when you get upset by what they call it, it's clearly struck a nerve. So I can imagine in the future, when people like Trump is done now, that one thing could finish him off. Because if somebody picks up on it and starts forever calling Trump a taco, I mean, you could sell a t-shirt right now, Taco Trump. And that t-shirt guaranteed will sell. In fact, after the show, I'm going to have a look and see if anybody's selling t-shirts, Taco Trump. And guaranteed, in America, that t-shirt will sell.
Let's print some, Joe. It'll sell here. Check the chat. Let's print some. It'll sell. Check the chat.
It'll sell.
It will sell.
Go to them Black Lives Matter people. Taco Trump. Boom. Go to any of those Democrats. Taco Trump. It was Trump always doing that. I'm gonna let's juke a pin on this one. We will see what this leads to. But I guarantee you, I'm sure of it. In the future, whatever they got, whenever they're running for not re-election, but there's a midterm election. I'm sure if they don't pick up on this, they're idiots. I mean, kill him by his own game, call people names, which is what he does. You know, I love that one. That was just absolutely hilarious. What made me laugh was his response more than the actual name. Paco Trump, just amazing. Oh, by the way, we haven't spoken about the Biafran War, and it's very, very important piece of history, especially for the Nigerians, whereby this war was in 1967 to 1970. More than 1 million people died. Now, bear in mind, 1 million people in Nigeria. That's 1 million black people. Yeah, because it was a secession group. Basically, that means that in Nigeria is big, and then there's a part of Nigeria that wants to break away. So they form a group, and it's a secession. A weird name, I thought. You know, secession, but that's it. And so they tried to break away. And so Nigeria, the bigger Nigeria, surrounded them basically and destroyed them. It was very sad. And here it is. It's the Nigerian Civil War. You know, and they are the BBC did a report on it, but it was a brutal conflict that lasted from 1967 to 1970, pitted the Nigerian government against the Republic of Biafra, a secessionist state declared by the Igbo people in the southeastern part of Nigeria. It resulted in an estimated 1 million deaths, largely due to starvation and disease, following a Nigerian blockade. In my humble opinion, hearing this, very, very sad, very, very troubling. Lisa, you got your hands up. We have to be kind of to the point because time is practically up. Radio listeners, we're putting as much as we can in for you. Go on, Lisa, real quick.
Tell the truth, I don't know much about the Biafra War. I do know that it was a huge genocide. I do know that it was horrific. There's lots of images, there's lots of videos online about the Biafra War as well. It is war, it's conflict between 3 tribal nations, the major one, should I say. So the Igbos, the Hausas, and the Fulani tribes. And obviously the Fulani and Hausa tribes are up north, and the Igbo are from the southern region, which was invaded, and a lot of those people, that tribe, were massacred. Absolutely. There are pictures of babies, you know, women, men. It's so sad. It will make you cry. Absolutely make you cry.
Yeah. And I feel it straight away because it's 1 million people and they're of Nigerian descent. It's just that they tried to break away. So, for example,
just can I say something? It's not like Nigeria is a country name given to them by Europeans. It's not Nigeria. It's
right, but
yeah.
So this small group is like Somalia and Somaliland. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll stick a pin. We'll stick a pin.
Yeah. And what happens is, so it's the same people. So it's almost like, isn't it England and isn't Scotland want to break away from England? It's almost like that.
Yeah.
And England decide and say, hang on a minute, no, you're not breaking away. Scotland says, yes, we are. And England just goes up there and kills them. It's 1 million of them. That's the kind of, it is a genocide. You use it. It is a genocide, but it's never been recognized as such. So that's the Black History moment. We're clearly out of time. So radio listeners, we're saying goodbye. We're already probably too late, but goodbye nonetheless. And do stop in and check in with us on our next show. Catch us on TikTok, on YouTube, and Instagram, and also on various radio stations that was listed at, which will be throughout the week. And by the way, feel free, when you visit the website, subscribe. When you go to YouTube, subscribe. Lord have mercy. Bye for now.
Well done, Joe.